Good morning everybody and welcome to Hearthstone on a budget, where I'll show you cheap Hearthstone decks that are still very competitive. Today I want to show you guys Midrange Hunter. Now Hunter has traditionally been a very cheap class, and it isn't any different these days. This right here is a pretty typical Midrange Hunter list, which is a highly competitive deck. This deck is very powerful. The most expensive card in the entire deck is Rat Pack. This deck doesn't use any legendaries and it only uses one epic, which is Rat Pack. Now, sadly, it's kind of hard to replace Rat Pack. This card is very powerful, but honestly, Rat Pack will see play in Hunter for the rest of the year until the next rotation. I think crafting this card is a perfectly fair thing to expect. One of the best things about this deck is how many evergreens it uses. A lot of the cards in this deck are cards that you will always be happy to have because they are always going to be good. Now, a bunch of them are just base set cards like the Timberwolf, Animal Companion, Kill Command, Houndmaster and the Tundra Rhino. But, I mean, they're still really good cards, right? They're strong and competitive. However, there's also a whole bunch of evergreens, right? These are cards in a classic set that you will always get value out of. Scavenging Hyena, Deadly Shot, Eaglehorn Bow, Unleash the Hounds and Savannah Highmane. These cards have been a part of Hunter since the beginning of Hunter, right? Since the beginning of Hearthstone. And they will always be part of Hunter. They will always be viable because they're just so strong. As such, crafting these is something that you want to do anyway. Because if you ever plan on playing Hunter, you want these cards. This deck also uses a bunch of cards from the new set. However, it uses Jeweled Macaw, Crackling Razormaw, and Ravasaur Runt. All three of which are common cards. So it's very easy to get your hand on these, right? It's super cheap. Overall, this list that I have right here will cost you about 1800 dust. Which is just a tiny bit more than a legendary. This deck is incredibly cheap, but it is also very powerful. Now, it does have some tech slots. I think the big ones are Timberwolf, Ravasaur Runt, Deadly Shot, and Eaglehorn Bow. Now, what could you replace there? I mean, really, you can swap them out depending on the meta, right? But Grievous Bite is something you might want to consider putting into the deck. This is, however, yet again, another common, right? Another Deadly Shot, another Eaglehorn Bow. These are always strong cards to have. One of the more expensive options to put into this deck would be the Call of the Wild. If you're running into a lot of more late game orientated or more mid-range orientated decks, and you feel like you really need that like last bit of power to close out the game. However, Call of the Wild isn't really that strong anymore. It's still very powerful, but nowhere near as broken as it used to be. So Call of the Wild is something you might want to consider. It is another epic, which is of course a bit of a problem. However, it is also very powerful and it will stay powerful for the rest of the year. This is just a strong card. Another tech option that's definitely worth considering is the Golakka Crawler, which is another beast, just a 2-mana 2/3. It, of course, kills a pirate. If you're running into a lot of pirate-based decks, this card just single-handedly wins you games. But it is another rare, right? So that's kind of a little bit of a downside there, but oh well, I guess so be it. As you can see, even the tech choices you would want to put into this deck are incredibly cheap. So, at most, this deck is gonna cost you like 2600 or something like that, and that is only if you insist on putting in two Calls of the Wild, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and showcase the deck in action now. Just kind of showing you guys what you can actually do. Is this deck actually viable? Yes, it absolutely is. This deck is very powerful. So I'm currently at rank 4, upper rank 4, almost rank 3. I think this is probably one of the most competitive areas in all of Hearthstone, right? At High Legend, of course, that's where all of the top players are. They're fighting for rank number 1, right? The actual rank number 1. But down here, everybody's fighting for Legend, right? Everybody's still trying the hardest, trying to get to Legend. And as such, it is still quite competitive, right? And everybody's using very powerful decks. So we've got a nice little starting hand here. We got ourselves the Runt, which is great because we can immediately curve into it. You know, maybe we get something scary with him. He can actually be a little bit terrifying. Yeah, he's the new shielded minibot, or, you know, the new... What is that guy called? Oh, I forgot his name already. This guy's actually a little bit of a problem. We could Crackling Razor Maw or the Runt. I think actually the Razor Maw is likely better. Poisonous or Health. We're gonna just go ahead and Poisonous. Kill that guy. Now against a Mage, what we want to do is we just want to push as much damage as possible, right? We want to get them down to their Ice Block as quickly as we possibly can. Right? That is the #1 priority. And so that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're just gonna keep pushing for damage. Wind Fury. Now, this is actually really interesting. I don't think these other two are all too valuable. And with Wind Fury, I can actually Houndmaster this guy and then just go pretty damn hard. Now, sadly, we didn't get a nice free drop. I guess I could have played the Eaglehorn Bow, but Eaglehorn Bow isn't necessarily a nice free drop, right? Okay. Well, I think we just play our Houndmaster here. Buff this guy, clearly. And Potion of Polymorph. That's fine. That's fine. And look at how much damage we're pushing already. So, again, the most important thing to do with Midrange Hunter against the Mage is you just want to get them to the Ice Block as soon as possible, because Midrange Hunter, or any Hunter for that matter, has the huge advantage of this hero power. Right, you keep clicking Steady Shot, and then eventually they're just like, oh, well, I actually just kind of died. Isn't that inconvenient? Right, and it turns out it is for them, not so much for us. For us, it's actually quite convenient. So we clearly go face here again. And, never mind, we already won. Actually, I think I missed Lethal there. I did miss Lethal. I completely underestimated how much damage we had. It didn't matter. At that stage, the Mage can't really do anything. So you can see, this actually is a very scary deck. Now we're going up against another Hunter. Now in this matchup, Unleash the Hounds is of huge value, right? Getting good value trades is one of the most important things you can do. I'm almost tempted to keep the Timberwolf and Unleash the Hounds for that really, really powerful combo that we can use later on. We'll just try that, right? I'm not too certain if that's the right play, but I guess we're gonna go for it. Another card that is really valuable here is the Scavenging Hyena. Right, with that guy you can just kind of overwhelm your opponent pretty easily. Oh, nice, look at that. 2 Grandmamas. These guys, of course. That's an insanely powerful card, right? The Kindly Grandmother is so good. It is just disgusting. But yeah, we're gonna trade here. Oh my god, look at this curve. This is just beautiful. Alright, we're gonna trade there. We're gonna keep going on curve. Again, one of the most important things to do is to be on curve. If you are on curve, you can do so many things. Now that is actually quite interesting. I could just go for Animal Companion and then ignore it. I could also go for something, I mean, like Timberwolf, trade into it. Alright, we trade here. We hit that one, we play the Runt. Next turn I can Animal Companion and such. Why not? We don't really want to give him any opportunity to establish much of a board. Right, that is really important. Really, really important to just completely deny him any board he could get. Wind Fury, free health, stealth. I mean, Wind Fury worked out last time. We don't have a Houndmaster though. So it's probably best we go with the Carapace. No, make him a 2/5. I guess we're gonna go with the Carapace. I'm not sure if that's the right play. Right, that's a little bit tricky. Wind Fury would definitely let us push more damage. And there is the Houndmaster. Yeah, I was a little worried about that, but that's alright. Because we do actually still have some fine plays here. And that's actually... look what comes in handy, that additional health. Alright, we trade like this, and we still have board control. Now, something that is of course scary is an Unleash the Hounds from his side. If that happens, then I guess we die, right? But if it doesn't, then we can actually just continue pushing for damage and continue controlling the board. Oh, give me those bananas. Oh, give me those bananas. Oh, he got the Living Spores. Ah, that's one of the better ones to get. Okay, so the first thing we do is we Animal Companion. Oh, that is unfortunate. I think the second thing we do is we start dealing with this stuff. Alright, we just trade in there, get rid of him again. Then we can trade into this stuff. I could double banana this and then trade it like so. That way I keep him alive. I think that might be alright. I mean, what is he gonna do next turn? Or I just go like this and then go face with him. That's actually probably better. Right? Let's just make him big and go face like that. We have our 5-4. We've got the Savannah Highmane for next turn. I'm worried I may be trading a little bit too much. Right? Maybe. I don't know. I like playing the board control game. Oh, he's got Amisha himself. Animal Bite. This is fine. So he's gonna kill our 5-4. In that scenario, actually, the other player I was talking about would have been better. But we just play our Highmane now. Highmane, of course, the MVP. Right, the absolute MVP. Like this. Ah, he's so good. That's the reverse Highmane, as you would expect. So, what do we do next? We can just taunt up our Highmane. I actually kind of like that. We play the Hyena to put a second threat on the board and we just push for damage. Right now it's time to close out the game. This Highmane doesn't get through this, so he needs to have a little bit of help there. If he doesn't have it, we just straight up win. Right? Oh! Well, I think that's also a victory, right? Oh yeah, that's game. Cool! We managed to beat another midrange hunter. As you can see, this deck is scary, right? It is powerful. It will win against many other decks, right? It is not necessarily the most consistent, but that's just because it is a mid-range deck. Right? Mid-range decks always have that problem. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. This video is something new I wanted to try, just kind of see what you guys thought of it, right? Because I saw so many people ask for budget lists for Hearthstone, and I thought, hey, I can maybe help you out a little bit. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a rating on it. I would definitely appreciate that. Go check out my stream. I'm streaming as often as I can. And let me know what class you want me to do one of these videos on next. Right? Because there are budget decks for almost all classes. Right? Not just Hunter. Just Hunter is one of the best ones. It's one of the cheapest ones. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.